Hello. It's Friday the 13th, Friday the 13th, 2023. This is the afternoon version of the drive video. This is the drive back in the other direction. If you follow the other channel, you know what I'm talking about. If you follow this channel at all and saw the first video, I probably explained to some degree what's going on. I will try to refrain from explaining again. I haven't logged on to this account today. I was on the other account and I saw that I am still at 2 subscribers. As I said yesterday, and I may even make a text post to this channel because I don't know at what point. I know I was well into the ride when I had mentioned it, but like there's kind of a contest going on that nobody knows about. There's not really a prize yet either. I think I'll set I'll make it $1 or something like that, but I don't know how you're going to get me the information, and I'm just going to mail $1 in an envelope at this point. Unless my buddy wins, then it'll probably be something nicer. But if any other person on the planet at this point wins, they get $1. If Matt wins, he gets something else. The contest is basically this: Matt has to, he's aware of this channel's existence. I think the bet was he had to be aware of these videos, find them and acknowledge that he sees them before someone else sees any one of these videos, figures out who he is, and tags him, says, hey, that guy, that first subscriber from that other, doesn't have to be in any kind of format other than get his attention, get him to acknowledge you. That these, the other ones are daytime videos, but it's dark. These are daytime videos as well, but it's not quite as dark because this is daytime afternoon. That was daytime, I don't know, 4 or 5 in the morning, whatever time it is I drive to work, whatever ridiculous time that is. This is the same day. So if you saw the video from the other station and then you're looking at this one, you're wondering, why is he wearing the same clothes all the time? It's because it's the same day. I'm just heading back home. Merging into traffic, so please pardon my complete focus on the road and ignoring of you. Bunch of weird, this is related to nothing, a bunch of weird pop culture references came up today at work. Star Blazers, Salad Fingers, The Prisoner, which was the show that was after Secret Agent Man. It was a stressful day at work, but my little group, we kind of had fun. We were just throwing around pop culture references and just making silly jokes, just taking regular situations and taking them to the extreme to cope, because it was a lot more fun than working. I mean, we were working at the same time, but it made it more bearable. It was very enjoyable. We were being very silly, very, very silly, and it's good to be silly every once in a while. But we were talking about Darkwing Duck and things like that. Very different. I could have swore I got a good start here. It's later than I thought. It's not crazy late, but I was wondering why there was so much traffic right here. I've explained this maybe not on this channel before, but there's a specific window that I need to get out of work, get into my car, and get on my way. Otherwise, my trip becomes much, much longer, and that doesn't affect me so much because I'm used to this long trip. But now that I'm making these videos, if someone's being forced to watch them, if my trip takes longer, that means you have to listen to me longer, and that's that's bad news. It's a very unfortunate thing. Today, two people left work today. One guy retired after, I don't know, 50 years or something ridiculous like that. There's actually an after work party for him that I cannot attend, unfortunately. And then the other guy just decided to move on to do something else. He'd been with the company for 4 to 5 years. It's a shame. It's a shame to see anybody go. Anyone with that length of experience. The first fella, and then the other fella, very very smart guy, engineering dude, and he's just moving on to another company. I hate to see our company experience like, you know, that kind of brain drain. It's happened quite a bit. Unfortunately, I think we're losing good talent quicker than we're acquiring it. I packed a lunch today, but I ended up eating a bunch of garbage anyway, especially at the end of the day. So if I look a little blotchy, it's because I ate an entire tube of like even though like I said, we were having fun and joking, work was still stressful, and I have a tendency to stress eat. I try to pack enough lunch to you know, so I have something to munch on throughout the day, and I try to make healthy stuff. Like today, I forgot to bring oatmeal, and that's usually how I'll start my day with like I bring oatmeal in a sealed container, just plain oatmeal, steel cut oats. I'll put some water in it at work, throw it in the microwave, and just eat some plain oatmeal like a savage. And then I'll like bring some kind of salad. I call it a salad. It could be anything. It could be a bell pepper and some celery sticks. Today it was just a few celery sticks that I'd broken up and threw into a sandwich bag. Applesauce, yogurt, peanut butter and jelly sandwich, container of nuts, fishes, those goldfishes, small container of milk, small container of orange juice, and I burned through all of it, except the nuts. I didn't finish the nuts, but I burned through the rest of it. So then at the end of the day, I ate a tube, not a full tube of Pringles. I might have seemed like I was implying a full tube, one of those like little 1/3 tubes. It's a ridiculous amount of calories. It's not. I don't think they're like it's 3 servings. You're definitely not supposed to just sit there and like burn through an entire third of a tube of Pringles in like 5 minutes. But that's what I did. I try to live my life in a way that it can be a warning to others. So it's Friday night. Friday nights, I don't know if I mentioned it on this channel, but I'm a lumberjack. No, I have a tendency, or have had a tendency on Friday nights to do Facebook VJing, just post endless. Like it'll either like sometimes there's a genre, sometimes it's just an eclectic mix. So like sometimes it's like I'll do big band, or I'll, like my niche is the 80s. I like 80s music. So I'll just like post endless 80s videos. Like, and I try to look for obscure songs, like, because there was no bad music back then. I don't know if that's true, but then I might, like, some nights I might go dark, like Cure and In Excess, and like just it's always a different mix, but like a 80s pop, that's kind of like where like you'll find me most of the time. I'm just trying to think about whether or not, like, I don't the mood doesn't always hit me right away. Like I said, it's been a stressful year so far. Nothing out of the ordinary, just extra pressure from work, and I kind of lowers my, like, I want to decompress, and like music's a great way to do it, but it's the mood doesn't always strike me right away. I've said before in another video that it takes me a long time to decompress from work. These videos, which again I won't go into explaining why they're being made, but they could also they may be they may be having something I hadn't mentioned before. When I'm trying to warm up to the idea of like talking to people, and this is probably a very dangerous way to do it, just putting like me talking out on the intertubes for just any random hoo-ha to go look at it. I may also be using it as a way to talk through things, but I'm not. Like I think about a lot of things I don't say. So sometimes you see me conflicted, like while I'm trying to make my non-content, thinking about things I could talk about, but I probably won't. For the reason that this is public, and don't want to air too much of my my personal stuff. Mainly not that I'm too concerned, other than like I'd be embarrassed. My family would be very unhappy if I gave away too much personal information about me or my family, because they're very, very private people, just like me. So my viewer, if you found this, like I said, you just have to say, hey, found out you're doing a completely other set of videos. You're doing 2 of these a day. What is wrong with you? Nothing really. But it's interesting that he, like, when you think about the gravity of it, there is this contest going on, the entire planet versus my buddy, and it's a race to the finish line, and the finish line is just being either him coming here and saying he found that I've started the second stream of videos, or someone on the planet getting here, notifying him, and having him acknowledge that he was informed that these other videos exist. It's not very hard. The rest of the planet, you can do it. Like I said, I haven't checked this channel. Matt may have found it already. He may have seen yesterday's video. I gotta keep it in my head straight which videos are on which channel. So yeah, I mentioned the contest in yesterday's video on this channel, that, you know, someone out there has to find him and tag him over here, and so that he finds these videos before he accidentally finds them, or before I tell him, because I really don't feel like mailing $1. In the other set of videos this morning, I think it was this morning, I was talking about some silly stuff I had done in my youth. Talked about playing Murder in the Dark. I hope it was this morning's video, not yesterday's video, but I'm pretty sure it was this morning's video. Talked about the lottery being up to, which reminds me, I do want to purchase a single lottery ticket on the way home, because you know, who doesn't want to be a billionaire? You wouldn't be. You would get somewhere in the area of like $400,000 to $500,000. But you can't fantasize about it if you don't have a ticket. I wanted to buy a ticket yesterday morning, but the lottery machine at the Turkey Hill wasn't ready yet. So there's that. apologize for the long silences. There's not a lot of voiceable content going through my mind at the moment, and I don't believe there's any way for me to pause recording. I can definitely splice out the silences later, but I will not do that. I won't do that before I post it. Tuba potato chips gives you the phlegms. So I apologize. I'm thinking about stories. I could tell I was like thinking about telling a story about the time me and my buddies drove to Boston and got pulled over by the cops because they thought we were drug runners. Actually, there's a lot of funny stuff that happened during that trip. I'm not going to tell the whole story. I was going to tell like two funny things about it. So we're on our way to Boston. This is when I was younger. I told the story earlier. I don't think it was on the channel. I think it was this morning's video on the other channel about like some of the dumb things I did as a kid. One of the dumb things I did as a kid is like I spent a lot of money doing just like road trips and stuff like that. Like we literally rented a car. I had just recently bought like one of the first cell phones that mobile phones they have, like this big bag. It was a bag that you carried over your shoulder, like a duffel bag. The whole thing was a battery. In fact, when I was done with that phone, the guy I keep talking about from the other channel, my first subscriber, I have two now. My first subscriber, I gave him that phone for his wife. I don't know what they did with it. I don't know if they eventually sold it or made it a piece of art or something like that. But he got my first bag phone. I kind of wish I still had it. It was neat. It was like almost military. Like it had that monochrome, like backlit, rubberized, like dial thing. Like very, I don't know how to describe the look. It's not steampunk. It's not Art Deco. It's just this weird military technology kind of looking thing. So anyway, I rented the car. I had my ridiculously expensive cell phone. Stupid stuff I spent money on when I was a kid. So we're going, and we decide we want to go to Boston. I don't remember why. This wasn't the time we were looking. It doesn't matter. That's in a completely different state anyway, so I won't even mention it. But so we decided to go to Boston, and we're driving, and we get pulled over by the cops. I can't remember why. I might have been speeding. I'm saying that weird, like it's like, oh, I was definitely speeding. No, I don't remember why. I might have been speeding. We may have just looked shifty. So there's three of us, me, my passenger, and my other passenger. So we get pulled over. The cops, like, there's just these questions that try to make you uneasy. Like years later, now that the internet's real and you can like see lawyers giving advice, like we answered every question wrong. Like we just cooperated way too readily. Not that you shouldn't cooperate. Like there's nothing wrong with it. Like I understand you're just asking for, like they tell you, oh, it's scary, like the cops are out to get you. I don't know, maybe some are. But so we're answering like at one point, and just doing the dumbest stuff. Like, so at one point, like he asks us to get out of the car, so he says, okay, now go around to the front of the car. So I go around to the front of the car without even thinking. I like put my hands on the hood. It's like, no, just sit on it. Like and they're, so it turns out they explained to us that Boston to Philadelphia is a drug route. Like there's our car freshly rented, like no real personal items to speak of. The three of us, like just looking hoodlumy, like we just, like at least one of us like was very, very much dressed like a hoodlum. I always dressed like this, even like when I didn't have a job. Like it's just the way I dress. I'm a ridiculous person. So like we get out, they start searching the car, they start tearing the car apart. Like they're convinced, like we are absolutely drug runners. So what they finally, I think they convinced themselves of, is we're on our way to get, not deliver. So they're thinking, okay, so they're telling us, yeah, blah, blah, blah. The other thing, that's weird is we told them we were going to Boston. For some reason, we were heading in the wrong direction. I was on the wrong side of the highway, heading away from Boston. So they helped us out. They gave us directions, and they told us, when you're coming back, here's the route you want to take. So they gave us, they told us exactly where to go, what would be great rest stops to stop at, blah, 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 and let us go. And as we're leaving, my buddy who's sitting in the passenger seat, like, the cops are right there. They're parked either right in front of us or right behind us. It was a long time ago. I can't remember. But they're, like, well within earshot. And he's, like, bends over, picks up a coin and goes, "I found a dime." It's like, if you don't know, that's a drug. It's not just a coin. It means something. It means something druggy. So it was like, "What are you doing?" So it was. We're idiots. We he literally found a dime. Though it was a dime. So, and then on the way back, we took the advice of the police. Later on, I would find out that, unbeknownst to Speed, we did have contraband in the car. One of my buddies was actually carrying, and I didn't know it, which made all of the interactions up to that point hilarious, because he was dying. He thought he was definitely going to jail, and neither me or the passenger, not him, the third passenger, second passenger, neither me or him knew that guy number 3 was carrying. So it was fantastic, because, like, I'm getting nervous because, like, the cops are going to keep messing with us. He's getting nervous because he doesn't want to go to prison for the rest of his life. So that was fantastic. That was good times. So on the way back, we stop at a rest stop, and we notice traffic just, like, severely slowed down. We noticed that there's this car, like, we go into a rest stop to get, I don't know, I'll say burgers, who knows, food, take a piss, whatever it is you do at a rest stop. We come out, and there's a car parked very close to our car, and we see that there's people in it, like a few people, like maybe an adult and 2 kids, maybe 2 adults and a kid, something like that. Somewhere between 2 and 4 people of varying ages. Again, this was a really long time ago. I remember the situations. I don't remember the exact details. So what we did was, we knew that this car that we had rented, the one we were driving, had a back seat that flipped down. Like, so you could flip it down and get to the trunk. I don't know, for carrying 2x4s or frozen bodies. I have no idea. A lot of cars do that. Like, if they have a trunk, oftentimes, in fact, I think almost all modern cars do that, because that's why they're breaking into them. They're not stealing the stuff that's on the seat, because they know that's bait. They break into the car to pull the back seat down to see if you have anything in the trunk. Anyway, so we see the people there, and we're all about, let's weird them out. So we hatch a plan. So the 3 of us walk up to the trunk of the car. We kind of mill around, like, you know, do that turning of the head, trying to look shifty. And then I quickly unlock the trunk. We pile in, push down the back seat, and then climb into our seats, like low crawling as best we can. And then we time it so that at the same time, we all just sit up in our seats like this, and, like, try to, out of the corner of our eyes, catch and it was hilarious. Like, they were looking. I mean, I can't tell if they were laughing, but there was a reaction happening in the car, because I didn't want to break character. I didn't want to, like, just stare at them and, like, give them the wink. But, like, you know, it's important. It's important to do strange things like that to entertain the norms. I think at one point we were either looking for a club or City Hall. One of those 2 things. It was nighttime when we got to Boston, and I wish I could remember, but we asked someone for directions, and, you know, there's a Boston accent, and, like, everybody knows there's a Boston accent, but you're not ready for it, like, if you haven't eased into it. Like, if you've just driven into Boston and the first person you talk to, you ask them a question and they just lay the whole thing on you, it makes you go weak in the knees. It's just funny. So we asked, I'm going to say City Hall. Can't imagine why we were looking for City Hall, but for some reason that's sticking in my mind. So I was like, where's City Hall? And they say, like, down the street, right across from the famous market. And we lost it. You're doing that on purpose. But they weren't. That's just the way they talk. It's just like, I don't even do it justice. Like, just Boston that up a few 100,000 times. And that's what they said. And it was hilarious. This is an answer to something I kind of left open in the other thing. Fran Lab, kind of silly to say it here until, like, someday Matt will find this. And he was like, oh yeah, I don't even remember you talking about that. But Fran is based in Philadelphia. I like her videos. Completely unrelated to anything. What is this? 46. Hate winter. I don't hate winter. Hate the cold. I don't like a little bit of snow. I do like a lot of snow. Like cities, if it's enough snow to shut the city down, I'm fine with that. Like, give me a nice 3 feet of snow on the ground, like impassable highways. I like that. I like real snowstorms. I hate, like, just do it all at once. Make it this ridiculous thing where we get to play and make igloos for a couple of days. Or a week. None of this, like, treacherous conditions for weeks at a time. So, I think this is the second video for this channel. Yesterday's video, I had mentioned that on the earlier video, if you watched it, you see that I got lost on my way to work, and I was very concerned about what happened. I never figured out what happened. I still really haven't watched back the video to see if I can pick up anything. Unfortunately, it's filmed from this perspective, so you're looking at me, and when I watch it back, I'm looking at me. Unfortunately, and there's no clue. I see the terror in my eyes when I realize I'm lost. I see me looking at the map. No idea. I must have just driven past the exit, and I guess maybe the last time I overshot my exit. Like, this was, like I said, a couple of years ago. It was very foggy, and it was pea soup out there, and I could not see, and that's how I missed my exit. I was alert. I was looking for it, and I just blew past it. This time, no idea how I missed it. Like, hard to fathom. You do the same thing every day. I mean, it's not hard to fathom. I used to my computer password, like, it's 16 to 28 characters, something like that, and I usually memorize a random string, like just random numbers and symbols, like lowercase, uppercase, for work, and I'm pretty good at doing that. And I remember, like, it was every 6 months you had to change your password. So I'd get a new password, I'd generate it, I'd use a random character generator. Like, I think I had one on my phone at the time. It would literally just generate a 28-digit thing, like, with all characters, numbers, and letters, uppercase, lowercase. And then I would memorize it. I would turn it into a mnemonic or something, or, like, I would just, like, read it. And you read it enough times, maybe make a song about it in your head, and you get it. And I have to type it multiple times a day. So then it becomes a muscle memory thing. So it's just like you're not even thinking about it. You sit down to your computer, you do your little dance, and it comes to life. And I remember one day, this was years ago, so this isn't related to my recent cognitive decline, but a few years ago, I had to do a thing where you show other people things that you've been working on in a meeting environment. presentation. I had to do a presentation in one of the conference rooms, and I brought in my laptop. I plugged it into the wires that come out of the wall so that I could take control of the monitor. And I think at the time it may have been the projector. I don't remember, but we replaced the projectors with monitors, but we didn't move the bodies. So anyway, I sit down at my computer. I couldn't even remember part of my password. It was a complete, like my fingers hovered over the keyboard, and I drew a complete, and it never came back. Like I had to, I now remember the first 3 characters of that, but the whole, like it literally, it's like somebody just erased that part of the tape, and I had to call IT and get my password reset so I could do my presentation. Actually, I just remembered the first 5 characters. Better stop before I remember the whole thing. You ever had that? You know, happens to me a lot. Like, you can't think of a word. Like, I couldn't think of a presentation a little earlier. I'm pretty sure presentation was what I was looking for. And, like, you can sometimes literally feel the word, like it's right there, like it's been pixelated, or like it's driving around in your head, waving to you, but you can't quite make out what it is. And you can sometimes sense that it's getting closer and closer, then all of a sudden it starts going further and further away. And it's a weird sensation, because the harder you try to think about it, like figure out what that word is, sometimes the further away it goes, until the point where you're convinced it's gone. Like the word has been erased from existence. You're never going to think of what it is again. It's eliminated from your vocabulary. You've forgotten it that hard that it's done. It's left your lexicon. Again, it's getting hard to keep track of daytime, nighttime, which video, which channel I was talking about it. But I had been mentioning, I think it must be the other channel. Either way, this is the part where this is Valley Forge. So Valley Forge is where you get off of the turnpike and you get into 422. So there's I'm going to show you what I do every day, because this is a much, if you have to go 422 north, don't get onto 422 north yet. Do this instead. Get off of the turnpike at the Valley Forge exit. Take this curve that when my wife was a child, she thought these little exit ramps that curved were turnpikes. I think a lot of people did. I thought silly things too. When I was a child, they talked about gaper delay, and I had no idea what a gaper delay was, but I'd hear it on the news all the time. And for some reason, what I pieced together, because I didn't really follow the news, I was like, I'm talking a young child, but there's a gaper delay on the highway. I was like, for some reason, I thought it was like a sinkhole or a gap opening up in the road. So you get off at the Valley Forge exit of 422, going north on the turnpike. You go through the toll booths, and instead of going to 422 West Pontstown, Swedesford, get off the first exit, the North Gulf Road, Valley Forge Village Drive exit. Just get off right there. Don't go to the next one. This is like, as soon as you go through the toll booth, there's this exit. Hug the right lane, stay to the right, and then at the first light, just keep turning right until you're onto North Gulf Road. Right. I'm turning right. Yes, I'm turning right. So keep turning on. And then you just take this straight. It curves, but like stay on this until you get to the next exit of 422. It's so much better than trying to get onto 422 over there, especially during the day. The traffic is insane. You have to merge all the way over to the left. If you merge, no matter what, it's hard to get over because there's all this traffic coming from another thing that just fills that lane. So you have to kind of muscle your way in. But one, it's generally, they're moving very slow. They don't want to let you in. If, like I said, if you go to the front of the line, then you look like a dick because you jump the whole line and you're squeezing in at the 422. So either way, it's uncomfortable and it's a stressful merge. But if you do this, you're kind of bypassing that, because if you can't merge up there, you've got to come all the way down and around to here where I am now, and that takes a while because you've got to come all the way along the highway. If I were to get onto 422, it would have been way back there in that direction. I'm like, right now I'm parallel to 422. In fact, based on this time of day, I probably wouldn't have even gotten onto 422 yet, and I'm almost up at the next exit. So you keep going here, you're going to go past the Valley Forge Casino, which I think within the past couple of years, you don't need to, like, you used to have to be a person that stays in a room in a hotel. Whatever the word is for that. Tenant, client, a hotel room haver. You had to be a hotel room haver to have access to the casino, I think. And then, or you could buy a card. I think they might have eliminated that thing where you have to buy a card. Like, you definitely don't have to stay. You don't have to be a patron of the hotel. Why can't I think of what it is when you stay? What are you when you stay in a hotel? Not a tenant. Jeez. This does not bode well for me. Criminate. I was just talking about that too. Freaking words and guest. I don't think that's the word I'm looking for, but if I'd thought of that and said it right away, you'd never know that I didn't grab the right word. So you don't have to be a guest of the hotel to gamble in the casino. Jeez Louise. If you like listening and or watching music videos, and you don't want to go to the trouble of picking your own music, and you want to wait until Friday nights on the off chance that I will post them on my Facebook page, let me know in the comments and I'll tell you what my Facebook account is. And then you can try to friend me. This is one of those things where the viewer, I think this channel might have a subscriber or two. I think I might be one of them. I think my other channel might subscribe to this channel. I don't have two channels under one identity. I guess I have two Google identities, and each one of them has a video channel. But I'm just one guy. See, the same tie I was wearing this morning. Same guy. I had a friend. Banks have regulations, and there's also people. So it's good to have the human element involved in things, because like there's rules and regulations and things like that. So but there's like you need human interpretation of certain things. Like if everything was robotic, it would be very dangerous. So my buddy worked in the bank, and one day he needed to do something. So he stepped out from behind the teller line and walked up to one of the other tellers and said, "I need to do this, blah blah blah." And she asked for ID, and he's like, I was just back there with you. You know me. We work together. This is my thumb. She's like, that's the rules. I was like, and I'm actually on both sides of that fence. I can understand that she's required to request ID. It's like, am I being pranked? Is someone making sure I'm following policy? But I have to wonder, like, does that make sense? And this was decades ago. This isn't modern, like now. This was like at least 20 years ago that this happened. And I think in a situation like that, where the person was literally just working next to you and has been working next to you for 5 years, and they just need you because they can't do a transaction against their own account, do you really need them to go home to get their ID to do the transaction just because that's the way the process is written? The process is written that way because you don't want someone to, it's written that way for a reason, but you know the reason. The reason for this one is pretty obvious. You want to prove that that's the person. Like, there is zero chance that the person that just asked you to do this transaction isn't that person. You know them. You've been working next to them for 5 years. So, like, on one hand, I can see the rule says you have to provide ID. On the other hand, no. Like, if it was to the point where you had to photocopy it because it was extremely strict regulations, yes. But literally, they just needed to show it to prove that they're the person. But if you know they're the person, they shouldn't need to show ID. So I side with my friend. The crazy nut job in me wants to side with the person that was behind the counter. But I side with my friend because he's my friend, and he was right. He was him. He is he. And I am they. And they is me. I am the walrus. Cuckoo, cuckoo. I don't know. Why would you pick that? Zeb by maybe it's his name. I'm not gonna say it. It's got a website on the back of his truck, and it's got a lot of letters, a lot of letters that don't really look like they belong together. Some double B's, a Z, a Y, a K, a double I. There's a lot of letters. This is the second video for this channel, then as of, because I think I just did this yesterday. Yeah, so if you're holding the phone in your hand right now vertically like you normally would hold a phone and you're watching this video, one, you should stop. It's boring, there's no content, and it's very small, and you should probably be doing something else. Two, what you need to do is rotate it 90 degrees so it's widescreen. You don't have to do this, but if you do this and it goes widescreen, you'll notice that there's now a watermark down here in the corner of the screen. Like, I always thought it was neat that, like, you know, all these channels like Jay's 2 Cents, Linus Tech Tips, all the channels, anybody who has a large channel, like, has all this stuff. They got the banner on their homepage. They got the well, it's pretty easy to get those. It's you just make it and you upload it. It's right on YouTube Studio. So if you start a YouTube page, there's lots of, like, really neat tools. It's funny. There's echelons of YouTubery, meaning that you can do live streams pretty much right away. Like, if you're going to do a live stream, make sure you set it up first, like, because I think, I don't know how much. I'm going to say, like, in my experience, it's 100% of the time. Once you decide you want to do a live stream, there's like, there's a 24-hour waiting period. They literally put a countdown on the website. What I didn't know, and I explained this on the other channel, is once you're allowed to do a live stream, you can't just do a live stream from anywhere. It has to be from a PC. They won't allow you. They won't allow you to live stream mobile until you have, I want to say 5,000 followers. I want to say ham sandwich. No, I want to say 5,000 followers. I think that was the number. So once you reach that level of a channel, then you can, you know, stream on the street. But until then, it's you're locked down to your PC. I didn't know that. I scheduled my first live stream as a joke, and my one subscriber / viewer didn't find out about it. I made mention of it on my channel, and that's kind of the joke. When you only have one viewer, it makes the YouTube channel kind of weird and awkward, because this content is being jokingly provided for a single viewer. That single viewer does not have the time to watch a long form stream of consciousness video. So it's like, but he's torn. He wants to be in on the joke, so he does come in. He zips through and he comments on the stuff. Not on this channel. He hasn't found this channel yet. He's aware of its existence. Hasn't been to it. Like I said, the contest is you win $1 if you find him and get him to find this channel these videos before he finds these videos. But where was I going? Something about tools. Can't remember. Lost my train of thought. Still trying to think of a better word than guest. You're staying at a hotel. You are a hotel dweller. Guest. Patron. That's going to drive me crazy. I think the French have a word for a single slice of bread. I can't remember what it is, but I don't think English has a word for a single slice of bread. We have 3 words for single slice of bread, or 4 if you count of. 2 if you go bread slice. Give me a bread slice. Is that a normal thing to say? Does that sound awkward? Like you're sitting at the dinner table? Give me a bread slice. It does sound weird, doesn't it? My wife once said some words out of order. There was something. It wasn't what she said. It might have been like a dust bunny or a hairball or sock or something like that. I think it was somewhere. And she said, "What is that? A chicken half? Like not half a chicken?" She said, "Is that a chicken half?" This was years ago, and we laugh about it every day. No, we don't. But it was really funny. It does come up every once in a while. What is that? A chicken half? Chicken half. That sounds so much worse than half a chicken. A chicken half. sitting here inside. It's Friday, it's late, I'm kind of tuckered out. I'm thinking, like, you know, if there was a planet where intelligent life developed, but no creatures on the planet ever developed eyesight, would they eventually be able to develop space travel? How would that work if they don't have sight? And Neil Tyson has still not answered my question about the big stick. The question was, in a nutshell, I'll repeat it later when I can read it in its full glory. But it just has to do with tiny motions, and that's it. Basically, I'll explain it. Like, so let's say you have like a really long stick, like, you know, that's the size of the visible universe, and it's on a pivot point. So one foot of the stick is sticking out this way, and then 97 light years of stick is sticking out the other side. If you're at the other side of the thing, you're 97 light years over there, and you move that end of the stick 1 Planck distance, what happens to this end of the stick? Imagine it's a rigid body, like, it's not, it's completely theoretical. Like, if the Planck distance is the smallest reasonable distance, does this end not move? Or what I think is actually happening is I just don't understand what that means. Like, you know, I don't think there's there's probably just not the precision to define exactly where this end of the stick is. There's going to be these, there's going to be this indeterminacy. So I don't believe it's going to be a measurable movement. The probability of where it is, like, may change ever so slightly, but I keep thinking about reality and material objects in the wrong way. So it's a funny question on paper until you start to analyze it scientifically, and then it's just a foolish child's question. Guys, it's a pickup truck in front of me doing the Charlie Weaver routine, riding people's bumpers. He's got plates, disability plates. He is, oh man, I really want to turn this around. He is on this guy's ass. I don't have a, now that I'm recording, I don't have a button to flip the camera around. Looking to see if I'm actually recording. It'd be funny if I was sitting here for an hour rambling and then realized I never hit the record button. I don't want to take the phone out of the cradle just to show you this guy being an ass. For multiple reasons. It's dangerous, like driving here. I don't want to be fumbling around with the phone. Two, this is one of those newer iPhones, and me and my wife both discovered. She has the newest one. I have the model before, and they don't have the home button anymore. They really don't have much of a border anymore. And unfortunately, every time you touch the phone, you touch the screen and you do something. Like, you either open an app, close an app, start recording, stop recording, make a phone call. It's just, and it's terrible when I'm on YouTube and I'm holding my phone, because like I move the phone around a little bit, like I end up touching some other video, and it's just a hassle to get back to the video I was watching, so I just give up. If I was really interested, I'd go back, but if I wasn't, like, if YouTube's wondering about the analytics, like, that's a weird place to leave that video he was watching. That's like nobody else will. It's because I moved my hand slightly and it switched to another video. I could probably remedy this situation with a different case. I bought you go to Apple and they've got that wall of cases, like little thin leather ones. I would definitely suggest unless you've brought one with you. You don't want to. These things are freaking expensive. You don't want to be wandering around with a phone without a case. I especially don't. I keep dropping things nowadays. But yeah, iPhones are expensive. You need to have a case on there. Even though this case is thin, it is rugged, and it's like it's leather. It's like skin, so it absorbs all the damage. The phone, I've dropped it a few times and it's fine. The screen protector is not in great condition. It's not all cracked or anything like that, but it's chipped in multiple places. And I keep thinking my screen's chipped, but it's not. It's the screen protector doing its job, protecting the screen. So it's not like I've seen them crack all over the place. Now it's just like a chip at the top, a couple on the sides of the screen protector, and that's it. Not noticeable unless you're like looking for it or at it for it. How are we doing for time? Coming up on 1 hour, so we did make pretty good time on the way home. Tired. I'm gonna take a little nap. You guys wake me up when I get to the intersection. Me and my wife used to take these long rides, who knows where, out to mid-Pennsylvania, 4 to 5 hour ride. There's a place in middle of Pennsylvania we used to go to every once in a while. And she likes to drive, so she would drive all the time, and it's hard. Like, I know as a passenger, my job is to navigate, do snacks and stuff like that. Sometimes I just couldn't help it. I just would fall asleep. And unfortunately, when I would fall asleep at night when we're driving home this long ass drive, like I would like sleep and do stuff. Like I'm like tired, I'd be chilly, and the music would be on, and without even thinking about it, like from the passenger seat, I would go over, I'd turn the heat way up, and I would turn the radio off. And my wife would look at me, "What's wrong with you?" Like, let's make it nice and warm and cozy and real quiet. I really didn't realize what I was doing. I was like kind of doing it in my sleep, but it made her mad. It's like, I need the radio. Don't turn the heat on, I'll fall asleep. Good times. The place we used to go to is very close to Winklebleck. Ties into another interesting story. Like it's from the other channel, and it's about D&D game we used to play for well over a year and a half. On the rare occasions, like it was very rare that we wouldn't make it. Like we'd show up every Saturday. I'd run the game. My wife would be one of the players. We did it so that we could hang out. And on the rare occasions that we couldn't make it, it was usually because we were going up to that place by Winklebleck for the weekend. And I remember people would get so mad, like actually mad, that we weren't going to show up. It's like, I've been here 20 weeks in a row. Like I'm going away for the weekend. Stop being mad at me. Oh, pardon me. Yeah. When I go to post this, I'll be home, so it'll post within 1 or 2 hours, 2 or 4 hours of me being home. So anything I ask you to put in the comments will probably not get acted on this evening. Meaning, like, if you want to know my Facebook, so that you can listen to me post music videos if I do that tonight. I am actually very tired. Let me just settle in for a nap here. After I get a handle of scotch into me, I'll be fine. I think I'm going to end the video a little early. Not now, though. You're still stuck with me for a few more minutes. But I'm going to end the video a little earlier than normal because I'm going to take a slightly different route home. As I said, I am going to buy a lottery ticket because it's probably up to 1.4 billion at this point. Just one $2 ticket, just so I can have that fantasy for a few hours of what would I do if I won $1 billion. I think I already explained. I may have explained it on this channel. Like I only play the lottery when it gets above what the odds are. Blah blah blah. On a long enough timeline, gambling odds. Blah blah blah. Makes sense. Like I said, I only play the lottery when it's ridiculous. Do I have a green light? I can't tell. That truck's too big. There we go. So I'm going to end it. I'm just going to end it all. No, I'm going to end the video before I get to the place where I buy the ticket. But it's not terribly close. It's still a few minutes away. The face is itchy. Too much pie. That's your problem. Again, I'm just going to take a nap right here. Jeez Louise. Face is itchy. Not much time left. I'm trying to think of something to fill the air with, like a dirty limerick or another amusing little anecdote about my past. Story. I don't think I have time to fit it in, at least not in its full glory. It has to do with high school, junior high school? Let's go with junior high school. It was junior high school. Was it though? Was it junior high school? Doesn't matter, I'm not going to tell the story now. I mean, it had to be high school. Does that really make any sense? Yeah, it had to be high school. Right. Yes. So it's about a story about math in high school. It's a very short story about how I thought I had solved one of the great mathematical riddles. I thought I think they've proven this can't be done. I think there's actually proof it can't be done, but like I thought I had figured out how to trisect an angle with a compass and a straight edge. It sounds easy, and that's why I attempted it. And I actually wrote up a very, very professional procedure and proof on how to do it, and it was correct. It was technically correct, which is the best kind of correct. But unfortunately, my method and the 3 random angles that I picked to use the method on, it was a terrible coincidence, because the method that I was using literally only worked on those 3 angles. So I had this multi-page, like I had used all of my colored pencils because I wanted to show in detail every step, wrote every paragraph out in a different color, showed all the things that were done to do this, presented it to my algebra, I don't know, my math teacher, whatever nonsense he was teaching us, calculus, algebra, Gazintas, I have no idea. Presented it to him, and then the dean of the math department or something a few days later called me down. He was like, this is really, really impressive work. You're gonna go places, kid. But I just want to tell you, like, this is the most amazing thing. It's a great proof, but it's wrong. And then he showed me what had happened, and he was dumbfounded too. Like, that I had literally found a process that works on 3 angles, and only 3 angles, and those are the 3 random angles I had picked to do the proof on, and it worked. So I did fit it in. It fit in just in time. It's I even have time to do some verbal treading on water here, because I still have a couple of seconds before I have to end this video. Some people have a way with words, other people not have way. So, on that note, there's some kind of thing going on there. On that note, I'm going to say, have a wonderful day.